And welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. It's been about 3 weeks since I made a video regarding Realtor.com's housing market updates. So I thought kind of share what's happening because the trends have drastically changed compared to just 3 weeks ago. So for example, Realtor.com reported just a couple of days ago, actually yesterday, that housing inventory is actually down compared to 12 months ago. This is night and day difference compared to the gains of, we had gains in the range of 50 to 70% to start this year on a year-over-year basis here. So absolutely insane. Anyways, I don't want to waste your time because I have a lot to share in today's video. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So this is the actual press release from Realtor.com, just announced on June 29th. But again, I did not even read it. Instead, go to Realtor.com /research/data. Click on this link right here when looking at inventory levels. They have a lot more to share regarding inventory, but here's what you more or less see when you click on that. Of course, I color coded and kind of made it pretty for you guys. But here is what I added in today's video, because the last time I made this video, which is what was in early June. Anyways, very, very big changes regarding asking prices, inventory levels, and price reductions as well. Absolutely crazy. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive right in. So look at this. Asking prices decreased by 0.9% for the past 3 weeks in a row. These are decreases in asking prices nationwide compared to 12 months ago. And by the way, this is the biggest decrease on record, and Realtor.com's data goes back to July of 2017. Very big changes here, especially compared to, look at these gains we saw in the last half of 2022. I mean, for 2022, for the most part, I should say in the second half of 2022, we saw gains over double digits, where now we're down by 0.9% for 3 consecutive weeks now. Also, as a note right there, for comparison's sake, when looking at the same week, late June of 2019, asking prices increased by 6.7%. Now they're down by 0.9%. Very big changes here. And if you guys recall, I've been talking about this on the channel for quite some time. I said that in May or June, we're going to get to negative territory regarding asking prices. Now, once we hit June here, we're down year over year. So here's another very big change here, because housing inventory, this is the total number of houses for sale, the percent change on a year-over-year basis is actually down by 0.3%. That may not sound like a lot, but drastically different compared to start this year. To start this year, we had gains in the range of 60%, and then by the time we hit the end of April, we're still at over 30%. So for the first 4 months of the year, we had inventory gains in the range of, let's just call it 30% to 60% on a year-over-year basis. Now we're actually down by 0.3%. This, by the way, is the first decrease on a year-over-year basis going back to May of 2022. And this, by the way, has been mostly on a downward trend ever since early February this year due to 2 main reasons: a lack of new supply hitting the market, in other words, a lack of new listings, which of course is not filling up the supply of houses for sale, and due to the fact that inventory was skyrocketing this time last year, whereas this year we're actually down compared to January this year. So year to date, inventory levels are actually down. And I'll share a chart showing just that here in just a little bit. But I want to compare inventory levels according to AltosResearch.com, because for the 7 days ended June 23rd, the most recent stats they have for us, we have approximately 460,000 homes for sale. 1 year ago, approximately 441,000. This means we have approximately 18,801 fewer homes for sale right now compared to 12 months ago. That's only an increase of 4%. For comparison's sake, this is absolutely insane. So only a 4% gain according to AltosResearch.com, but in late February, it was a gain of 76% compared to late February of 2022. night and day difference regarding the growth inventory levels last year, which was skyrocketing, and this year still down compared to January. Very, very big changes here. Also, as I note right here, inventory is down 6% year to date, but it has been increasing slowly ever since April this year. Also, for comparison's sake, we have approximately 52% fewer homes for sale right now compared to the same week of 2019. This means we're missing a whopping 500,000 houses that are not listed for sale right now compared to levels back in 2019. Now, let me share exactly what I mean by this, because here's altosresearch.com. Again, right now, approximately 460,000 homes for sale. Back in the same time frame in 2019, 967 homes for sale. Now there's only 460,000. Also, 12 months ago, 441,000, so a small increase. And also 2 years ago, there was 359,000. And back in 2020, around 676,000. Also in early July 2018, there was 928,000 houses for sale. Now there's less than 500,000. And lastly, regarding inventory levels this year, take a look at this, because to start the year, we had around 491,000 houses for sale. It decreased through mid-April. Entirely abnormal. We should see an increase of inventory levels starting around March and April each and every year, whereas this year it was going down. And again, right now we have approximately 460,000 houses for sale. Fewer number of homes for sale compared to the start of this year, which is absolutely mind-blowing, completely abnormal to say the least. And also, of course, this is a night and day difference compared to the gains of inventory levels we saw back last year, which really started to spike back in May. They bottomed out, or I should say the trough was around 240,000 back in March 4th. But by the time we hit late June, there's already 441,000 houses for sale. So part of the reason why we're seeing this historically low number of homes for sale is this right here, a very, very big problem here. New listings for the week ended June 24th fell a whopping 29% compared to the same week of 2022. And this has been decreasing by double digits for 45 out of the past 48 weeks. A lack of new supply hitting the market, which is causing housing inventory to remain at historically low levels. On top of that, this is actually the 51st consecutive week of year-over-year declines of new listings, dating all the way back until July of 2022. Fewer new listings compared to the same time frame in the year before that. Now, this is causing, of course, inventory to remain at very low levels. One more thing I do want to add regarding this decrease of 29% last week is this actually the biggest decrease since early April, when inventory levels or new listings fell by 31.5%. Let's also talk about days in the market, how fast or how slow houses are selling. Last week, it took about 13 days longer to sell a house compared to the same week of 2022. But more importantly, it's actually taking longer to sell a house now for 47 consecutive weeks now. Again, though, a friendly reminder, this is actually the only column that's really a lagging indicator, because this is based on a closed home sale. And also, I want to share the percent change in the number of reduced price listings. These are when home sellers reduce their asking prices because they ask too much for their house, right? So this is another, absolutely insane difference compared to just the first 3 months this year. Let me just share that with you really quickly here, because for the first 3 months this year, we saw triple-digit gains in the number of price reductions compared to the same time frame in 2022. And now, night and day difference here, because for 4 consecutive weeks, we've been seeing decreases year over year. And also for the past 2 weeks, we've been seeing double-digit decreases. Last week, the number of price drops decreased by 21.7%. In my personal opinion, the reason why we're seeing this to be a negative for the past 4 weeks is due to 2 main reasons. due to, of course, because we have a low amount of houses for sale for existing houses, historically speaking. So we have fewer options for home buyers, leading to bidding wars in summer marketplaces, such as Sacramento, for example. That's number one. Number two, price drops were absolutely skyrocketing at this time last year, whereas this year they have been relatively subdued. In fact, as a note right here, the share of price drops is actually down year to date this year, night and day difference compared to 1 year ago. And don't take my word for it. Have a look at this. So here is, let's just look at the past 2 years here. 2 years. So past 2 years, here's a look at price drops. So back in 2022, starting in April, that's when rates surpassed 5%. Average 30-year fixed surpassed 5% for the first time in about 2.5 years. And because of that, the share of price drops went from 17%, and by the time we hit the end of June, they're already at 29%. So nearly doubled from March to June last year. Whereas this year, let's just look at March. March this year, we're at around 31%. Now we're around, not that, now we're around, 31.6%. So share price drops are absolutely skyrocketing until we hit November. Whereas this year, they actually had been increasing for the past several weeks here, but still down compared to the start of this year. So 31.6% back in January this year, let's just call it January, January 6th, the share price drops was 36%. Now it's only 32%. And again, compare that to last year. So the first week of 2022 at 22.6%. But by the time we hit late June, we're at 29%. One more thing I do want to mention regarding the share price drops at 32%, more or less on par with last year at 29%, but higher than 2021 at 19%, and also the 24% we saw back in 2020. But at 32%, this is on par with pre-pandemic levels back in 2019 at 33%, and also in 2018 at around 32% as well. All right, I know that was a lot to cover in today's video, so here's a summary for you guys. So if you guys are still watching, I appreciate you. Let's go ahead and dive right into the summary here. Number one, asking prices in the US posted the biggest decline on record over the past few weeks, again down by 0.9% year over year. And data from Realtor.com goes back to July of 2017. Housing inventory decreased by 0.3% year over year last week, according to Realtor.com. That was the first decline since May of 2022. Now, here's a very important thing you guys should be aware of here. We did not see a seasonal uptick in inventory levels this spring. Entirely different market compared to what we normally should see here. So sellers are of course holding on to ultra low rates, which of course is why we're seeing a lack of new supply in the market. And that's right here. New listings have been decreasing by double digits for 45 out of the past 48 weeks. This continued lack of new supply in the market, or a lack of new listings, is causing inventory levels to remain at historically low levels, even though inventory is much higher now compared to the past couple of years. Also, there's approximately 50%, I believe it was 52%, fewer houses for sale right now compared to the same week of 2019. The average 30-year fix is around 7% as of June 30th. 1 year ago, it was around 6%. Number four, the number of price drops has fallen from last year for the past 1 month, for the past 4 consecutive weeks, to be exact. The share of price drops is at a 3-year high during the same time frame, but it's more or less on par with pre-pandemic levels in 2018 as well as 2019. And number five, houses are taking longer to sell compared to the same week in 2022, now for 47 consecutive weeks. Again, though, this is a lagging indicator based on closed home sales. So, what are some potential huge changes ahead And of course, a friendly reminder, I am not a real estate market fortune teller. I really wish I had those superpowers though, right? And of course, if I did, I would share them with you. So number one, average 30-year rates are 1.1 percentage points higher than 12 months ago. Also, there's lots of challenges ahead right now. We have near record low housing affordability. And by the way, I would imagine next week, we're going to hear some news regarding all-time record low of housing affordability because rates have been increasing as of late. And of course, home prices have not decreased as of late either. We're down compared to 1 year ago, but prices nationwide have been increasing ever since February this year. So, of course, we have a lot of challenges ahead. Near record low housing affordability, low inventory levels of existing houses, elevated rates, and of course, a potential for recession later this year or maybe even next year. Anyone's guess. Number two, housing affordability is a huge hurdle for home buyers, especially compared to the past couple of years. Rates have more than doubled compared to 2020 through early 2022. I should say late 2021. Also, prices are up by about 40% compared to 2020. Just think about that. Prices have increased by about 40% compared to 2020, and rates have more than doubled, going from around 3%, now they're at 7%. Can you say a lack of housing affordability? So mortgage rates increased in June, and on a national level, home sold prices have been on the rise ever since February, a gain of around 10%, according to data from Redfin. So we have rising rates and home prices, which of course means that housing affordability is actually getting worse, despite the fact that prices are down on a year-over-year basis here. So number three, early signs of home buying demand have been absolutely all over the place due to all the volatility in rates we've seen so far this year. The most recent stats that we have show that applications for home loans to buy houses, according to the MBA or the Mortgage Bankers Association, have increased for 3 consecutive weeks. That's based on the report that was just published on June 28th. When looking at pre-COVID levels, though, regarding the level of purchase applications, it's on par with the lowest levels going back to October of 2015. In other words, we have a low amount of demand, even though in some markets it feels like it's very competitive because we have a lack of houses for sale. And speaking of that, the most recent data from Redfin shows that pending home sales fell by 15%. Also, new listings fell by 27%. So low demand is meaning low supply right now. Also, as you noted in my report from a couple of days ago, I would say late last week, the National Association of Realtors reported on June 29th that pending home sales in May fell by 2.7% in April. So on a month-over-month basis, this May, I should say, contracts being signed for existing houses fell by 2.7%. Whereas compared to May of 2022, they fell by 22%. However, the new home construction industry is night and day different, right? Because this May, I keep on saying April, this May, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, new home sales, which is defined as a deposit taken or a sales agreement signed between a builder and home buyer. So in other words, it's really acting more like a pending home sale. Any case, so new home sales in May actually increased by 20%, whereas contracts signed for existing houses actually decreased by 22%. Therefore, home builders are gaining an advantage due to rate buy downs that they're offering, and of course, because of the low supply of existing houses. And of course, our housing market is ever changing due to the fact that rates have been absolutely all over the place, of course. And of course, real estate is local. The trends I'm sharing in today's video may not pertain to your street, your neighborhood, your city, or maybe even not your state, right? But here's what's happening on a national level, though, right? Number four, sellers and buyers have exited the market, leading to a dip of new listings as well as contracts being signed as well. The lack of new supply since last summer has led to inventory remaining at historically low levels for existing houses, down by about 52% from June of 2019. a big if homeowners continue to decide that now is not a good time to sell a house, inventory levels will remain at historically low levels. The direction of our U.S. housing market, in my personal opinion, will depend on unemployment rates and inventory levels. And number 5, this is a big one. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and of course, for supporting my YouTube channel. Hope you guys have an awesome day, and look forward to seeing you on the next video.